Hey everybody! My hominid that I chose was Australopithecus afarensis, and here is actually a quick drawing I did. And if you can't see it as well, I'll take a picture and put it in my post. So the reason why I chose Australopithecus afarensis is because it's probably the most famous hominid, just because of the finding of Lucy, and I'll touch on that a little bit later. But yeah, it got me really interested, and I think it's like the most well-known, one of the most well-known fossil finds, and I think it's really cool, especially for people who don't know anthropology as well as we do now, after we've been studying it for a little bit. So anyway, let's get started. So the first question is where was the fossil or fossils from the species found? So since the early 1970s, fossils from Australopithecus afarensis have been found probably like in four main sites. And those are Laetoli in Tanzania, and Hadar, Corsidora, and Tikika, and all in Ethiopia. Sorry about the pronunciations. Alright, second question. Are any of the fossils from the species famous or well-known skeletons representing the species? Yes, the most famous is Lucy. And she's named Lucy because when the scientists discovered her remains, they had the song by the Beatles, Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds, playing when they were celebrating the find back at the camp. And I think Lucy is the most famous because it's one of the most complete skeletons that have been found, especially specifically with hominids. They found 40% of the skeleton, had been preserved, which is really significant because it allowed them to really dive into the evolution of hominids, not only for the species preceding um, Australopithecus afarensis, but the evolution of the Homo species. So like I said, that's the reason why I chose this hominid, and I think it's one of the most amazing finds. And who found the fossils and how old are they, and what methods used to determine their age? So Dr. Donald Johansen, who was a professor at Case Western Reserve at the University of Cleveland, and his graduate student named Tom Gray actually discovered Lucy. They couldn't date the fossils directly, but like when it was brought back to the U.S., the geologists used potassium argon dating, and also after that they used argon dating to determine the skeleton was about 3.2 to 3.6 million years old. How is this hominid different from its predecessor? So Australopithecus afarensis' predecessor is Ardipithecus ramidus, and they're different because Ardipithecus ramidus have opposable big toes, which means that they spent most of their time in trees, whereas Australopithecus afarensis spent a little bit of time in trees, but definitely not as much as ramidus. Australopithecus afarensis have smaller teeth. Their canines are smaller, and they're more human-like. Next question is, what is the brain size or cranial capacity of this hominid? The brain size of the Australopithecus afarensis is only about the size of a grapefruit, which is like less than 500 cubic centimeters. And that's significant, I think, because it shows bipedalism before increased brain size, which basically means that this hominid was able to walk before their brain was increased in size. Next question. What does the anatomy of the hominid suggest about the style of locomotion, and what are the features that indicate a particular style of locomotion? So the Australopithecus afarensis anatomy, the males probably averaged were about 4'6", 4 feet 6 inches tall in height, and weighed about 90 pounds, and the female average was about 3'9" and about 66 pounds. They're actually the features of their skeleton probably show that their walking was pretty similar to humans. And another part of the anatomy that indicates the particular style of locomotion was the phalanges, actually, from this Lucy skeleton finding, show that they're curved, which actually suggests some potential arboreal locomotion using hands. So they may have spent some time in the trees, but mostly probably walked along the African plains, much like humans, so it's pretty interesting. What do scientists believe the diet of this hominid might have been based on characteristics of the teeth? Australopithecus afarensis seems to have eaten soft, sugar-rich fruits. Also, their tooth size may indicate that they had eaten more brittle foods and possibly even termites. Final question. What traits of this hominid suggest potential social behavior and cooperation? Well, the Australopithecus afarensis seems like they lived in multi-male, multi-female groups, which is actually pretty similar to chimpanzee troops of today. The difference is that the Australopithecus afarensis have a reduction in the size of canine teeth, and why that is significant is because chimps and gorillas use their canine teeth to fight, so that maybe indicate that that males may not necessarily competing as aggressively for access to females, which is pretty interesting. So that's it. It was fun doing lots of research, and hope you guys have a good week. We'll see you later.
Hello. Goodbye.